Just me, Ashley.
Good morning, everybody. I've got Deepak and Daniela and Samantha. I've got tons of people. So I'm so glad everybody has joined. Now, Aaron's popped on. Awesome. Okay. I also am going to share my screen. All right, guys, we're going to learn how to look up our MLS identifying number. So you're going to need that when you go to realtor.com and try to set up your account with realtor.com. So I'm going to go to the dashboard of the MLS. I'm going to go to my profile. So if I go to preferences and then my profile, if it will let me, you know, I had trouble with this last time on my laptop. So I'm going to go down to my preferences and my profile. When I click my profile, you're going to see right here a 17-digit number. That is my personal MLS ID number. Below that is my NRDS number, which is my National Association of Realtors identifying number. Now, I don't know why Realtor.com doesn't use the NRDS number, but it wants this MLS ID number because I suspect it's trying to pull your listings from MLS. So it is going to use this number to know who you are on MLS and therefore be able to verify who which listings are yours, and then put those on Realtor.com. They'll be on there anyway, but they'll be attributed to you once you do this step. All right, does that seem clear to everybody? Great, and I'm recording this, so you can also go back and watch it again if you need to go back and watch it and see how to do it. So, okay guys, we're gonna get started this morning. Thank you for your patience. And what we're gonna be learning today is we're gonna be doing some MLS and zip forms training. And we're gonna learn today how to edit already saved searches, because what happens when your client calls and says, oh my gosh, Ashley, I'm so excited. I just got a raise at work. Can we bump up our search criteria from 200,000 to 250,000? And so I don't wanna recreate the wheel on that. I wanna go in and edit the saved search I already have for them. And Erin has asked where she can go see the old training videos. So if you go to any of my emails where I am reminding you of the classes that we're going to be having on Zoom, you're going to see a button at the bottom for Facebook, and that will take you to our private Facebook group that's just for agents. You're also going to see a button for YouTube. And if you click that button for YouTube, you're going to find the past Zoom meetings on there where I've packaged them and put them on the YouTube channel. You also can just go to YouTube and search for Wainwright & Co. Realtors. And when you find that site, we have a site or a YouTube channel, and we have the past training videos on there. So excitingly enough, next week we're going to start a speaker series, a guest speaker series. So once a month, I have a week where on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I am tied up with leadership and board of director meetings at RVAR. So I'm not able to do our Zoom meetings. So Jennifer has generously offered to be our guest speaker series host. So next week, it's going to be a guest speaker. It's most likely going to be a lender. I've got a couple of lenders who wanted to come on and chat, and they're going to be teaching us something about the lending process, about the different types of loans. As new agents, there are going to be a lot of things you don't know about loans. You know, Erin's been writing her first contracts these last couple of weeks, and she's learned a ton about how much closing costs you can ask for, whether it's an FHA loan or a conventional loan. It's going to be two different amounts depending on the type of loan, because those lenders have restrictions on the seller paid concessions that are going to the buyer. So those are all lending details that you're going to need to know when you're writing your offer. It's also going to be helpful for you to understand the appraisal guidelines in regards to conventional loans versus FHA loans, so that when you're looking at your new listing, you can maybe pick out a few things that you want your seller to fix before you even put the house on the market, because you know those items are probably going to come up during an appraisal. And Erin has just posted that she's basically an expert now, which is true. Yeah. So she also only likes to do it at like 11 o'clock at night, but good for her. I'm a night owl. So what did you say, Erin?
I said, thank goodness. I'm so thankful for that.
No problem. I'm an early bird and a night owl. Basically, I don't sleep. It's fine. So let's go on, and we're going to be doing editing saved searches. We're going to be learning how to set up a search for a specific address, because there have been many times in my career where someone has called me and said, okay, there's a vacant house down the street. There's nothing on the door, no signage. I want to know when that house goes on the market. Okay. So I figured out how to put a search in that is for one specific address. Now, it may take a year, but eventually at some point I'm going to get an email and it's going to say, hey, such and such house has gone on the market. And that's going to allow me to know the day that that house goes on the market. We're also going to go over how to access driving directions so that you can organize your property tour that you're doing with your clients in a manner that doesn't have you running all over town, backwards and forwards, all over the place. And then lastly, I'm just going to teach you a little quick computer tip of how to turn anything you're looking at on the computer into a PDF so that you can email that to your clients. Okay. And then we're going to do a Get Business Quick idea. So let's go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to go on the MLS and we're going to do a little tutorial work. So I'm sharing my screen. Now I'm going to go back to the dashboard by clicking Flex MLS. And the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to edit a saved search. So let's say that one of my clients called me and said, I just got a raise at work. I got a promotion. I'm so excited. The lender says that we can bump up our purchase price criteria by $50,000. So I'm going to go to my saved searches. I'm going to find my client's search here. So here we are. Here's my search for my clients. I'm going to go into the search and I'm going to click this button here for edit search. So when I click edit search, it's going to bring up the criteria that I had keyed in. What it's showing me is it's showing me, if I go to summary here at the end, the last tab is summary. It's going to pull all of the search criteria that I opted in on from all of these different tabs. It's going to pull it over here to one page called summary. So when I go there, I see that the only criteria I filled out for these clients were that the property be active, that it be a single family residence, that the listing price be between $150,000 and $250,000, that the total finished square footage be at least 1,800 square feet, that it be a detached property rather than an attached property. And I'll take a moment to explain that to you. Detached means it is its own dwelling. It's not attached on any side of the building to another residence. So a townhouse might be a good example of an attached property, but we're looking for a detached. So it's just one single family dwelling unit all by itself. I've stated that I at least want 2 full bathrooms, and that I only want to search in the city of Salem, and that I want it to have at least 3 bedrooms, okay? So now what I may do after discussing with my buyers is I'm going to go ahead and bump up this search criteria listing price section from 150 to 200,000, and my top end of our price range from 250 to 300. Once I make that change, I'm going to click Save up here in the upper right-hand corner. And I am now saving that search criteria. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save here. It says, did you mean to save this for the Smiths? And I'm going to say yes. Go ahead and save that for the Smiths. Now that search criteria has been updated and changed. So you can see over to the left that there are 9 search results, and you see here that that change did take. So now our listing price range is from 200 to 300,000. Okay? Simple when you see somebody else do it, I know. But now you can go back and watch this video and know how to do it. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard. And now I'm going to teach you how to do a search for a specific address. First, did anybody have any questions about that or anything I need to address before we move on to the next topic? Yeah, hang on one sec. Let's look at our chat window. Y'all, I am struggling with this laptop. Okay, no chats. All right, so moving on.
I have a question real quick.
Please, please.
Is there a way to delete the saved search?
Absolutely. So if I go back into my saved searches tab, and I'll tell you a secret, this is my fake person anyway, I don't have any Smiths. If I click these 3 buttons over to the right, it's going to give me several choices. Okay. View the details, go into their subscriptions, and their subscriptions are where I've set up sort of an auto emailer so that if anything new comes on the market that matches their search criteria, it's going to automatically email it to them. So that's called the subscriptions. I can go straight into that. I can rename it. Like maybe I had named it Salem 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 150 to 250. Well, now I would need to rename that to Salem 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 200 to 300, right? So that would allow me to rename it, or I can delete it. And I just click there and I delete it.
Thank you.
All right. You're absolutely welcome. So now I'm going to go back to the dashboard and we're going to learn how to set up a search for a specific address. So what I would like to do is show you the way I love to do it because it's the easiest. However, keep in mind that's going to disappear at some point, and I'm not sure yet how we're going to change that. Full search is a legacy search criteria option, and that means it's going away. It doesn't work well on the mobile version, so they're getting rid of it entirely. But what I'm going to show you now is how to do a specific address search because it will still hold that search even after it converts and full search goes away. Your saved search will still be in there. So we're going to click full search. It is residential. I'm going to go ahead and click active because I only want this to email me when this property goes active on the MLS. So I'm going to click next. And I'm going to go here to location and legal. That's a tab I use fairly often. Location and legal is going to allow me to select things like the city, the tax ID number, the municipality that it's in. Perhaps I'm doing a search for Salem, but I also don't mind Glenvar. That's actually Roanoke County, but it may have a Salem address. So if my person only wants the city of Salem because they want the city of Salem amenities for whatever reason, then I would choose city of Salem, but I would also go down to municipality and select city of Salem for the municipality so that it would not show me search results for Salem addresses that happen to be in Roanoke County, okay? Perhaps they're looking for Salem schools or not. So I'm going to go to the, if I remember correctly, I'm going to go here on the left to street name. And let's say I'm looking for a specific property. So I'm not going to put in, if my address that I want to find is 939 Lynchburg Turnpike, I'm just going to put Lynchburg. I'm not going to try to guess whether the future listing agent who puts this house on the market is going to spell out Turnpike or put TPKE or what they're going to do. So I'm just going to put Lynchburg. And up here in street number, I'm going to say 939 to 939. Now this means that if a property comes on the market on our MLS and the address contains the numbers 939 and the street name Lynchburg, then I am going to get an email about that, or my client's going to get an email about that property because it matches the search criteria I've saved. Now, what I may want to do is tighten that down if it's a more common name. And I may want to go in here to municipality and say, but only in the city of Salem, because that's where this address is located. That way, if a 939 Lynchburg Road goes on the market in Moneta, I'm not going to get an email. I'm only going to get it if it's that property there. Okay? So this is a very common request for people who see a house that they suspect is going to go into foreclosure, and they just don't know when. Or maybe it's a property where there is paperwork on the doors and the windows stating that it's going to be foreclosed on in the near future. Then I can put this address in, and whenever that lender finally gets around to finishing foreclosure proceedings and listing it with a listing agent, then my client's going to know the minute that house goes on the market. Okay? So after I've put in my criteria there, I'm going to click save up here. And when I click save, I'm going to name it. And I'm going to name it 939 Lynchburg. And down here, I might put in my client's name and say, okay, now I remember who in the world was asking me for this address, right? And I'm going to say this is a new contact. I'm going to put in their name. I'm going to put in their email address. And I'm probably going to click add subscription because I'm most likely going to want my client to also get an email when this property comes on the market. So when I click add subscription, it's not going to let me because it wants an email address. But when I click add subscription, it's going to give me a page allowing me to put in that client's email address. And I'm going to, let's just go ahead and fake this because I want to show you another feature. So if I put in my client's address, okay, and I say add subscription, it's going to take me to another page. This is essentially the setup and the settings for the email that's going to go to my client. So up here, it said it's also going to send me a copy. That's terrific. I want to know when it goes on the market too. And I'm also going to switch from weekly to ASAP. I want to get this email and I want my client to get the email the moment it goes on the market. The moment it goes on the MLS, we are both going to get an email. And I'm probably going to subject this email with something like 939 Lynchburg is active. Okay. And then I'm probably going to put in the body of my message something like call me as fast as you can so we can get over there and take a look at this. And then I'm going to click save and it's going to all be set up. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, I'm not going to save that because my poor personal email gets so many fake emails right now because I've done so many training tutorials. Yes, Deepak, did you have a question?
Oh, no, we're good.
Okay. So next training piece. We are now going to do driving directions and how you can resort your I'm so sorry, y'all. I had a new house go on the market late last night and my phone is absolutely exploding. I am going to ignore it now. Okay, so we're going to go back into sharing my screen and we're going to learn how to do driving directions and how to resort all of our showings so that we can make sure that the driving doesn't run us all over the place. So I'm going to share my screen again. Good to see your shining, smiling, happy faces there for a moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and come up with a, let's go to a save search, see what we've got, and pretend like we're going to go show those properties. So let's say, let's just use that fake one I was using before. There are 9 listings. Let's just, for fun, pretend like we're going to show all 9. So I'm going to select these. And when I have my selections ready for what I'm going to go show my clients, I'm going to select all of them with the select all button at the top, that little box there I just checked. And then I'm going to take them to the map. So I'm going to go to map. And I'm going to tell you, most often, I will have already printed all of these out and I have the papers sitting on my desk, right? And I'm going to sort them in the order in which I want to go show these properties. So what I'll do is I'll take them to the map to get them organized. And when I get to the map, I'm going to click this button right here called driving directions, okay? And when I click driving directions, I'm giving it permission to go into Google Maps. And what MLS is doing for me is it's loading all those addresses right into Google Maps for me. So there they all are. Now they're a giant jumble going all over the place. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, oh, it can't find one of them. Okay, for today, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of Edgemere with this X button right here, just so that Google Maps can continue to finish plotting this. Now you see the order in which it came in is all over the place. I'm apparently running around in circles right here and doing the same over here. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and resort these on the left-hand side according to what I think makes the most sense. I mean, I'm starting on Howard Drive and just a moment away on Medford Road, I'm actually choosing to do that one last. You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick a starting point. So I'm going to go ahead in this case and pick Howard Drive as my first house. So I'm gonna click that. I'm gonna drag it up to the top. Then I'm going to go ahead and do Medford Road next because it's closest to it. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to make an executive decision. Do I want to go over here or do I want to go over here to Red Lane? Let's go ahead and go to Red Lane. So I'm going to put Red Lane next. All the while, if I slide down a little, where is my elevator to get down here? It should be updating the distance. So right now I'm at 37 minutes just to drive to all of these properties. And you can watch that number change as I resort these properties. So I'm going to go to Red Lane, then I'm going to go to Lee Street, and then I actually need to zoom in to see what this one is. Let's see which property that is. What property are you? North Market Street. So I'm going to go, actually, I may do North Market Street and then Lee Street. And if I look below, I can see that that actually took me from 37 minutes to 34 minutes. And then I'm going to zoom in again here and decide where else I want to go next. So then maybe I want to do, let's flip flop. Let's move Pennsylvania up there with Virginia. And let's do Chamberlain before we even go to Virginia and Pennsylvania Avenue. So now I've rerouted this. I'm happy with my routing. I don't know why Red Lane has got me going all the way up and around. Let's take a look at that real quick. That's a little odd, isn't it? Well, I can certainly continue to resort and get it into an order I want. But what I like best about this is what it's going to do for me is it's going to allow me to know the time constraints I'm going to have with just driving. So if I'm showing Medford Road and Howard Drive, I'm only going to put probably a 15-minute buffer between those two showings in case we run a little long at Howard. But I'm going to put obviously a much larger buffer in time between Medford Road and Red Lane because I've got quite a bit of driving distance there to get to Red Lane. So whereas I may set up Howard Drive from 1 to 1:30 and set up Medford Road from say 1:15 to 1:45, I may not schedule Red Lane until 2 p.m. just so that I know I have enough driving time to get all the way over there, and so on and so forth as you go through the driving directions and figure out how long it's going to be between houses. Now, do you guys have any questions about that? I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can discuss for a minute. Anybody? Anybody have a different way they do it that makes more sense? We're all about sharing ideas. Okay, well then we're gonna move on then. So the next thing I want to show you is just a very simple internet tip. So if you are anywhere on the internet and you see something you want to print, or like, let's say, I know a perfect example. Let's look at the Governor's Executive Order 65. The Virginia Association of Realtors page has a coronavirus COVID-19 resources and updates page. On that page, they have the actual Governor's Executive Order. So if you click Executive Order 65, then I'm looking at it, right? Well, if I would like to have this as a PDF, because perhaps I'd like to email it to all of my clients just so that they have it, then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click print. When I click print, in the print dialog box, you have options for printers. So most often, your printer settings are going to default to the printer that you use most often, your default printer. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to choose the printer Microsoft Print to PDF. Now, this is going to work on all PCs and laptops that are PCs. It is not going to work for Macs, but Macs have their own thing. So if you need help with that, just call me directly and I can help you with that. So we're going to go to Microsoft Print to PDF. I'm going to click print. Now, instead of sending that to a printer, it's going to pop up this save print output dialog box that's going to let me name this. So I'm going to call this Executive Order 65, and I'm going to choose the folder I would like to put this in. So I'm going to put this in my download folder. So I'm going to save it now. So I'm going to click save. Now, instead of printing out the governor's Executive Order 65, instead, I've saved it as a PDF. And now I can attach that to an email. I can upload it to my website or my blog. I can do whatever it is I want to do with it. Okay? Now, guys, we are going to go on to our Get Business Quick Idea. So, my Get Business Quick Idea for you today is to challenge you to join an organization and a Facebook group. So right now, because of COVID-19 and coronavirus, joining an organization sometimes is joining a Facebook group because people aren't actually gathering anymore. So I did this challenge probably a couple of months ago, and I also accepted the challenge, and I joined a group that is based out of my old college. And there was a group on there where folks were talking about business ideas and businesses people are running. And so I joined that Facebook group and have been participating in there. So those aren't people who live in the area, but they are people who went to college here. So they probably still know people in the area. I may benefit from that and make a sale or get a referral from an old college classmate. But more importantly, I'm just participating in a very authentic and organic way in that group. And when it is appropriate, mentioning that I'm in real estate, right? So being active in organizations and active in Facebook groups will actually end up resulting in business to you. Paul Dotson, who's been a real estate agent for a long time, he's been heavily involved in Kiwanis forever. And he will tell you, he has had dozens of sales out of his relationships he's built being part of that organization, all the while doing good for the community while he's been a volunteer with that organization. So it really is a win-win. And so I encourage you this week to pick a Facebook group or an organization that you would like to join. There are loads of volunteer opportunities available in our community. So that's my challenge for you this week. Now, who has any questions? Who has anything they want to share? Did anything happen this week that surprised you or you were pleased about? Anybody have a business celebration? We all want to take an opportunity to celebrate. Anybody have anything they want to talk about?